pause for reflection in that teeny mirror on that weeny shoulder. It lets you know at a glance, girls, who's glancing. And it might save a biff in the back from a bus. That young man, by the way, seems to prefer to be heard and not seen.
Oh, how times have changed. Of course, the modern woman doesn't really need a wing mirror on her shoulder in order to report back on the world around her, because she's got one of these in her teeny-weeny hand, and with it, she can tweet, she can email, she can blog, she can sign campaigns for change, she can like it, she can tell the world how she feels.
I noticed after perhaps a stop or two that he was getting aroused.
And then eventually he started stroking my leg, and I told him to stop.
And it wasn't till I got to work that I found semen down the back of my legs.
The Everyday Sexism Project is a website launched last year by Laura Bates, who wanted to create a place where individuals could report their own experiences of sexism.
Just to look at some recent entries, a man more than twice my age thought it appropriate to tell me I'm well developed for a 16-year-old in a good way. Patient at work said, I don't want to see some uneducated woman, I want to see a real doctor. Guy on the bus throwing things at me because I ignored his request to sit on his lap. I was groped between my legs in a club and had a man masturbate whilst telling me he wanted to suck on my tits in the street in broad daylight. What's important to say is that a lot of people who write into us specify the fact that they feel absolutely frozen, ashamed, embarrassed. Those are very common reactions when that kind of harassment happens. So I don't think it's the case that if they didn't write to Everyday Sexism, they would otherwise say something back. I think they had been silenced for a long time.
These stories haven't stayed in the digital world. Some were used by police in a campaign on London transport, resulting in increased reporting of sexual offences and increased detection rates too.
These are still early days for assessing the impact of that heady combo of individual power and its ability to shift entrenched positions. One of those being the mainstream media's obsession with breasts.
Perhaps you saw this, courtesy of the Daily Mail. When performance artist Amanda Palmer appeared at Glastonbury this summer, she accidentally revealed one bosom to the crowd. Her subsequent song about how that bosom became the story, not her art, went viral.
Dear Daily Mail, it has come to my recent attention that my recent appearance at Glastonbury festivals kindly received a mention.
The beautiful thing about new media and YouTube and Twitter is that you're sharing all of these experiences in real time and you're kind of relying on each other. By the time I got home that night, someone had already uploaded the video to YouTube. I took a look at it, shared it, and then by the next morning it had gone viral.
Do you ever sense that there's a friction between the different generations of feminism?
This generation is programmed to want to share forward what resonates with them and what makes them feel more human. And in that, I think you might see the seeds of a real change and a real evolution, because, even 10 or 15 years ago, if I wanted to make a statement about something that was bothering me, I was stuck talking to my friends or calling up the old media, and now I can say it directly, and that's going to change the world. It already has.
Come and join us!
Stubborn, hard to shift inequalities remain. It's the same old song, isn't it?
As Mrs. Panker said, enough's enough. Chained to railing, she would do a step. Nowadays, a woman out for justice starts the fight for freedom where her bust is.
Modern feminism reflects modern society. If a criticism of previous waves of the movement was that the voice of feminism was often white, well-off and academic, that's not the case now. The visual exploitation of women goes hand in hand with the digital age. More images, easier to see, easier to share. It's one of the modern feminists' biggest battles.
I can pay for everything that's on you, so everything is on me. Got them girls going Cindy Lauper, Gaga and a little blondie.
So this video
Calvin Harris featuring Tiny Temper, drinking from the bottle. In terms of the sexualisation of black women were not a part of the plot of the video. They're just shaking it on the car. You don't even see their faces or anything, they're literally just bums.
Ikamara Larasai is part of the Rewind and Reframe project, a one-stop shop website that will allow users to send their comments direct to record labels and the regulator. I asked her how she felt when she watches the way young black women are portrayed in music videos.
Bored and frustrated. The fact that this image is a normal depiction of people like me is a problem. And that's the thing that people that don't know people like me are absorbing.
Is there a danger, though, that people feel too powerful with the digital experience? You know, you tweet something or you send an email via your website and you think, I've really packed a punch there.
I think it's useful to feel like you've contributed to making a difference on a particular issue and it wasn't too strenuous and you didn't have to get wet in the rain. I think that's the good thing about digital campaigns.
Not everyone believes that the new digital world will allow feminism to achieve its goals. Charlotte Raven is the editor of The Feminist Times. She's just launched it digitally, but wants it to become a stimulus for meeting up and discussing ideas.
When I read Everyday Sexism, I'm usually on my own. Often when I've put the kids to bed, I find myself drawn to it, and there's a process of a kind of feeling of it's such a depressing litany of horror, and yet you feel impotent in relation to it. There's nothing you can do about it. The only way that change can be affected is in 3 dimensions, by meeting up with real people who are going to change your mind and also change the world.
Digital feminism has an ability to throw a cause around the world in seconds, and you can feel that you are creating a loud new noise. But the question is, how many people are listening?